So how did we balance creating a fully realized story arc with the looming issue of knowing or not knowing?
That's what I'm looking at.
That's the realist is.
I read the questions so everybody knows.
This is part of the thing about the whole show is we had to keep planning up to these things that could be a finale, but also aren't necessarily a finale. And we were sort of
stopped at Ocean Gem.
Yes, it could have been Ocean Gem. It could have been Jailbreak. And then after that, we got a big 52 episode pickup. So we were running for a while, and we really didn't know what was happening after that. And then we were in this strange limbo where nobody knew what was happening after that, in part because of this big merger that was happening at the studio. And then also in part because people were becoming aware of what we were doing with the show, and we were starting to get this feedback from different international iterations of Cartoon Network that were threatening to pull the show if I spoke out about the fact that the characters were LGBTQ. So at that point, it was implied that the show was ending. It seemed pretty definite, and I was like asking for more episodes, and I was campaigning to do the movie. I think a big part of the stress of doing the whole show was that it felt like the plug was going to be pulled at any moment through almost the entire 8 years of doing it. Even with the movie, deep into boarding the movie, we weren't even necessarily greenlit. So I think we would always try to make something that would do double duty. If it has to end here, then we want it to be satisfying in every way that it can be. But then if we get more, then we'll be able to really fully realize the story. And it also meant that we would have to strategize, especially with something like the movie in future, because there are ideas in future that actually were going to go earlier, but had to be completely reinterpreted because Steven was older. So I think of running a television show as opposed to making a feature feels, I think, a little more like surfing, where this like tumultuous waves are happening, and it's almost, you can plan, but it's really just an act of kind of navigating the shifting of everything that's happening under you. And I think that also, I love animated TV series, and I like TV shows. And a lot of times that's what you're seeing when you look at them, is people navigating that shifting landscape. And so I don't dislike that that's a big part of what Steven Universe is like planning for these possible endings and jumping forward into a story when we get an opportunity to make it, that the stories that we didn't know we could tell or finally have a place where they can live. When people kind of ask, oh, is the show not quite what you wanted it to be? I mean, to me, that when you're making a TV show, that's a big part of making a TV show, is that you're a little bit at the whim of the elements in that way. So I think I in a lot of ways, I like the ways that it forced us to be creative. And I think of that as a big part of the project.